guess Redmi saw Poco's early releases this year and went like, that seems like fun. Why don't we join in? And that's how the Redmi 9 Power was born. Hey guys, over to here from C4E Tech, and if you do end up enjoying our content, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so that you get to be a part of our notification squad. So this is the box. Spoiler alert, that large Redmi 9 Power branding up top, yeah, it's a sign of things to come. Anyway, we have the usual Me logo, the Made in India, and India's #1 smartphone brand logo all pasted along the top edge. The back holds no surprises either. Spec highlights up top, and the bottom mentions that we have the 464GB variant of the Redmi 9 Power in blazing blue. Time then to open up the box and see what's inside. First up is our device, wrapped in protective plastic. Sliding it out. Let's peel that back sticker off as well. And yep, as expected, this looks exactly like the Redmi Note 9 4G that we unboxed a few days ago. Right down to that ugly Redmi branding that's etched into the back. Didn't like it when Realme did it for the Nazo, and this has done nothing to change my mind about it either. Anyway, let's put that away for now and check out what else we get. A SIM ejector pin, a user guide, a translucent soft case, a 22.5 watt charger, and the accompanying Type-C cable. Sounds awfully familiar, right? Yeah, that's cause we got the same stuff inside the Redmi Note 9 4G, but in a slightly different order. Okay, so this is the Redmi 9 Power. Now, if I were to tell the similarities between this and the Redmi Note 9 4G from China, that would pretty much be the entire spec list. Right from this matte finish at the back to this 6.53-inch IPS panel up front. So instead, let me tell you guys the one difference between the two. For that, we have to concentrate on this, the camera bump. The Redmi 9 Power comes with quad cameras. The Note 9 4G, it's got 3 cameras. Okay, now don't get your hopes up. This extra sensor isn't a telephoto or anything like that. Instead, it's a 2 megapixel macro camera. Now, you guys know how I feel about companies stacking on extra sensors on phones. So let me save my breath and instead show you a couple of shots from the macro sensor. As for the rest of the 3 sensors, well, they're exactly what we have on the Redmi Note 9 4G. That doesn't make them bad cameras though. The primary 48 megapixel has been kitted out with an f1.79 aperture lens. We can see the details of the bricks even though they're hidden in the shadows. So dynamic range on point. And looking at the details on this decorative skirting around the roof, I have to say the main sensor is doing a fine job. For low light snaps, we get a dedicated night mode. Yes, it's kind of noisy, but for the most part we are able to make out what the subject is. So once more, on par for this price range. We also get an 8 megapixel ultra wide. This one gets an f2.2 lens. Check out the colors, they're pretty similar to the main camera, right? Finally, we also get a 2 megapixel depth sensor. On paper, these quad cameras seem to be the same as on the Indian variant of the Redmi Note 9. Now you guys might be wondering, Amarto, why are you comparing this with the Redmi Note 9? After all, the Redmi series and the Note series, they're different, right? So what's going on here? Well guys, if you look at the price, the styling, the feature set, everything here points towards the Redmi 9 Power being a Note series device. But the Redmi Note 9 here in India is not only more expensive, but also better than this device in many ways. As a result, Redmi had to shoehorn this device into the Redmi series. And I think that in the future, we might see the other Redmi Note series devices released in China come to India, but under various other names. To be fair, they might not be exact rebrands. Like in this case, the macro camera is the obvious addition. But there's one more small upgrade here. The Redmi 9 Power comes with Bluetooth 5.0, while the Chinese Note 9 4G is stuck on 4.2. That's all we have for the changes. Even the colors are the same. But hey, we have covered the Redmi Note 9 4G from China before. If you have missed that, cut to that right here. But in case you want a quick spec refresher, here we go. We have a 6.53-inch Full HD Plus panel up front. LCD 60Hz, so none of the fancy stuff. Not even a punch hole. We have a teardrop notch instead that holds the 8 megapixel selfie snapper. Shots from it come out looking a bit soft. This is the Redmi 9 Power. Next to it are the 13 megapixel selfies captured by the Indian Redmi Note 9. It captures way more detail of the subject. Coming back to the display, the bezels surrounding it are on the thinner side, except for the chin at the bottom. And for protection, we have got Corning's Gorilla Glass 3. That's actually a downgrade from the Gorilla Glass 5 on the regular Redmi Note 9 that we have here in India. And hey, even though it's similar looking panel, the Note 9 has a brighter panel with a punch hole. So for anyone keeping count, that's a couple of ticks in the cons column. But the Redmi 9 Power pulls one back thanks to the stereo speakers. Yeah, we have one on top, right here. By the way, that third hole, that's actually an IR blaster. Beside that is the headphone jack, and finally the secondary microphone. The bottom edge holds the primary mic, the Type-C port, and the second loudspeaker. Internally, we have the Snapdragon 662. Again, a change from the Indian Redmi Note 9, but is it one for the better? Well, the benchmarks certainly disagree. And here's the thing, guys. There's those odd moments when the phone would stutter for a bit. By the way, it's worth pointing out that while both these phones are running the same UI 12, so yes, that means we have to contend with ads as well as lags. The GPU in here is the Adreno 610, and by default, Call of Duty runs at medium graphics settings at high FPS. Initial impressions, the gameplay was smooth, and there doesn't seem to be any heating issue as such. Storage though is an interesting scenario. RAM is 4 gigs of LPDDR4X across the board, but the base variant comes with 64 gigs of UFS 2.1, while the 128 gigs is UFS 2.2. So bigger capacity as well as faster speeds. Of course, both variants come with a dedicated microSD card slot. Yeah, so this SIM slot on the top left is actually a triple card one. There's rubber grommets around the SIM tray. In fact, Redmi's website claims that there's a rubberized coating around all the ports. They have gone as far as to say that the ports on here are corrosion proof. So you shouldn't end up with rust on your Type-C. What's more, we also have a P2i nano coating, and there's even a software feature for getting dirt out of the speakers. Coming back to the placements, the power and volume buttons are both on the right. By the way, the fingerprint scanner has shifted places as well. It's now integrated right into the power button and works just as expected. So one weird thing that I noticed, I generally keep my phones upside down in my jeans pocket. But here the headphone jack is at the top, and that means we have to keep it right side up. Which means the fingerprint unlock which for most of us has become muscle memory at this point. So that's kind of messed up. Small thing, but hey, I noticed it, so I thought I would let you guys know. That being said, face unlock works really fast, so it's not like you're gonna spend a lot of time fumbling around trying to unlock your device. Now with a name like Redmi 9 Power, we'd expect it to last a long time, and thanks to the 6000 mAh unit on board, the battery life here should be pretty good. Of course, with such a large battery size, one might want to use it to charge other devices in a pinch. And while there is reverse wire charging on here, it has been slowed down to an absolute trickle. 2.5 watts versus what used to be 9 watts on the Redmi Note 9. Again, it's the Indian version I'm talking about here. Okay, so one last interesting tidbit. The inbox charger here is 22.5 watts. The maximum the Redmi 9 Power can support, that's 18 watts. So Redmi is actually providing a more powerful charger in the box. Now, does that cover up for all the drawbacks? Not really, but hey, it's a nice to have. And honestly, battery capacity is the only place where the Redmi 9 Power comes away with a clear advantage. It's got a 20% bigger battery than the Indian Note 9, but it still maintains a weight under 200 grams. And it's not just the weight. Thanks to the matte finish, the Note 9 Power attracts way less fingerprints and smudges. And thanks to these ridges on the sides and the textured back, I actually prefer the in-hand feel of the Redmi 9 Power when compared to that slick finish on the Indian Note 9. When it comes to looks though, I'd rather go with the Note 9. Yes, it's got that noticeable camera bump, but in my opinion, that's better than having Redmi branding stuck to the back of your phone. So even though the Indian rebrand of the Chinese Redmi Note 9 4G comes with a few small tweaks, my initial impressions of it, they're the same as what Ash had said when he unboxed the Redmi Note 9 4G from China. On the pro side of things, we have the bigger battery and the dual speakers, but the list of cons run longer. Dimmer screen, no punch hole, worse selfie camera, lower performance, slower reverse charging. Now, is all of this worth sacrificing 1000 rupees for you? Because the base 464GB variant of the Redmi Note 9 comes in at 12,000. The Redmi 9 Power, also 464GB, starts at 11,000 rupees. And hey, just in case you guys are feeling that the comparisons between these two are unfair, the price is the biggest telltale here. The Redmi 9 starts at 9K. Even the top end 9 Prime is available at 10,000 rupees. So Redmi might want to try and pull a naming shenanigan on us, but that isn't fooling anybody. So what do you guys think? Redmi has slid the 9 Power exactly in between the Redmi 9 Prime and the Redmi Note 9 as far as pricing goes. But honestly, does this phone need to exist? And more importantly, has this rebranding frenzy gone out of hand? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching till the end, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.